everyone, I'm Jocelyn, and I am grateful you're here. You're listening to the Starting with Gratitude podcast. This is a safe space intended to host meaningful conversations exploring all topics of the human experience. Every conversation starts with gratitude and remains rooted in gratitude. After you listen, make sure to join the community by subscribing and sharing. I am so happy you have joined us. Hello, beautiful podcast community. It is your girl, your host, Jocelyn. And in this episode, in this one-on-one chat, we are going to be getting into something that I am feeling especially grateful for at this time. And this something is something that has been coming up for me pretty frequently in the past couple of weeks. So when I was thinking about what I want to talk about with you all, I was like, yes, let's get into talking about safe spaces. Because as the topic of safe spaces has been coming up for me, I was thinking to myself, like, man, we all truly just need a safe space in our lives. If every single one of us felt sincerely that we had a safe space to turn to show up as our most authentic selves in whatever season of our lives, I feel like so many of us would feel so much more better. We'd feel so much lighter. We'd feel so much more in community. We'd feel so much more in touch and in tune with ourselves and our emotions, and have less fear of being our most authentic selves. So I just want to, first and foremost, express gratitude for my awareness of what a safe space is, what a safe space looks like, what a safe space feels like. I am aware that there are people out there who haven't fully experienced the beauty and the comfort of a genuine safe space. And I'm so grateful that I have experienced that. And we're gonna get into that, into like my first conscious experience of a safe space. But I'm also really grateful to be in a space currently myself where I feel confident holding a safe space for others. I'm so grateful to have the capacity to hold a safe space for others. And I thought of this when a friend of mine recently asked me if I could hold space for her. And when she asked me that, I was like, first of all, I was like, oh my goodness, I'm so grateful to have friendships in my life where we don't just dump our emotions on each other and our thoughts and our distresses and our experiences, especially those that may be triggering or may be heavy. We ask each other before we engage in those kinds of conversations if we have the capacity to hold space for those kinds of conversations. And I'm so grateful for that. And also, I just like had to tell her, like, oh my goodness, look at us asking each other if we have the capacity to hold space in this way. Like, how beautiful is that? And I hope that those of you listening or watching, if you don't have people in your life like this, or if you personally are still developing your conscious awareness of being mindful in that way, I hope and I pray that all of you align with that conscious awareness and with people who also reflect that conscious awareness, because it is so beautiful and so thoughtful. So yeah, y'all, I'm just so grateful to have the awareness of what a safe space is, what it feels like, what it looks like, and to currently have the capacity to hold safe space for others and to hold safe space the way that I do, which I would describe my safe space looking like, or more so feeling just very calm, feeling very welcoming, non judgmental, sincerely empathetic and genuine and soft and safe. And I'm really grateful to be in this space because I mean, I definitely could not be holding safe space for others. I mean, even at the beginning of this year, I would say definitely not, not to this capacity towards, mid to end 2020. I was in too much emotional distress to hold safe space for others. And truly, the way that someone is able to show up for others is a reflection of the way that they are able to show up for themselves. So, just examining the way that I personally am able to hold safe space for others right now makes me feel very grateful. And yeah, just very grateful that that is a result of all the healing that I've been doing and investing in, all the shadow work that I've done, because to me, that tells me that I've been holding safe space for myself so much that I've arrived to this destination, to this point to where I truly feel confident holding immense safe space for others. I really have an immense capacity right now. And again, that's just a result and a reflection of me pouring into myself because we can't be pouring from an empty cup, right? So, what exactly is a safe space? Personally, I would define a safe space as a space where one can find the comfort and the ease to show up as their truest and fullest selves, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, energetically. A safe space is a space where you know that you are not going to be judged. You know you are not going to be discriminated. You know that you are not going to be ridiculed in any way, shape, or form. It is a space you can go to really just show up as you are in that moment. And again, I actually don't remember if I brought this up in the beginning of this episode or not, but I was thinking to myself, throughout the past couple of weeks, as the topic of safe spaces has been coming up for me, like, man, if each and every single one of us sincerely had a safe space in our lives, I sincerely feel this world would be a better place. Like, imagine if every single one of us had one person, one community, one organization, a physical space where we can count on, we can turn to in any season of our lives and feel sincerely seen, supported, heard, felt, and held. Perhaps you're listening to this and you're starting to wonder, man, do I have a genuine safe space in my life? And if you feel like you don't, I am holding currently right now in this moment a space for you in my heart and am praying that you align with a safe space, that you manifest a safe space. Because knowing that you have a safe space in someone, in a community, in an organization in your life brings you so much peace. And an example that immediately comes to mind for me regarding this is when I really needed a safe space last year, when I was in the midst of a breakdown, when I was really going through it towards, the end of summer 2020. I felt like I had suppressed so many thoughts, so many emotions to the point where, yeah, I experienced a breakdown. And I just didn't want to be a burden on anyone. And I also was slightly embarrassed of what I was going through. But the breakdown just broke me down so much to the point where I was like, I cannot do this alone. I need someone to talk to. And I reached out to one of my friends, shout out Nicole, and I asked her if she had the capacity to hold space for me. And she did. She invited me over to her place. Like literally in that moment, that day, which is like when I like really needed it. Like I needed it right then and there. And she was there for me. And I'm so grateful that she did have that capacity at that time and also the availability to invite me over. And so I went over and, she just asked me what was going on and I let her know what was going on. And she literally just listened. That's it. She literally just gifted me the safe space of me expressing myself, me showing up the way that I showed up at that time, feeling like I was in the midst of a breakdown. And I was, though I will say that for someone who was going through something like that, I looked very calm. And I will also credit that due to the fact that I stepped into a safe space, which is immediately calming. Just knowing that someone is there, that the space is there for you to show up as you are. And Nicole is someone in my life who I know will not judge me. And regardless of what season I'm in my life, what stage of my evolution I'm in, I know that I have a safe space in that friendship. And that, again, is something that I personally am just so immensely grateful for. And that is something that I pray each and every single one of you have and experience and manifest if you don't have that already. And if you do have that, I encourage you to reach out to that person, to that community, to that organization right now and just express your gratitude. Because really, if we have a safe space in our lives, it is such a blessing. And so when I just expressed to her and just got everything out and had someone there, their presence, their warmth, the comfort of their non-judgment, their listening ear, their home, that's literally all I needed. I felt immediately so incredibly uplifted, like such a huge weight was lifted off my shoulders. And I could just breathe lighter and had a clear head and just felt more capable in like continuing to go through the season that I was going through. And again, all Nicole did was hold a safe space for me. And at that time, the safe space just looked like her presence and her listening ear. And that experience not only shed light on the importance of having a safe space in your life, but also showed me that sometimes all we need is someone to listen to us. Like, that's wild. Not even someone to like give us advice or feedback or anything like that. Just someone to listen. Someone that you can completely vulnerably express what's going on your mind, on your heart, what it is that you're feeling. Oh man, it really is the simple things. So, y'all, holding a safe space. I'm so grateful for it. So, all that said, I want to leave you with some reflectional prompts, if you will, to bring this episode full circle. The first reflection that I encourage you to reflect on is, how do you define a safe space? What does a safe space personally look like and feel like to you? The second reflectional prompt is, do you personally feel like you have the capacity currently to hold safe space for others? And again, the way that I define my ability to hold a safe space for others, what my safe space looks like is, I have the capacity to welcome someone into my energetic space and be non-judgmental of the way that they show up in my safe space. And I have the capacity to show up with emotional availability. That is a huge aspect in a safe space, is the emotional availability, the mental availability, the energetic availability. Because if you are distressed in any way, shape, or form, and you show up to a space where the person holding that space is also incredibly distressed, it's not going to feel completely safe, you know? So again, do you feel genuinely that you personally have the capacity to hold safe space for others? And if so, what is the depth of that capacity? And on top of that, how does your ability or inability to hold safe space at this time reflect your ability to hold safe space for yourself? Because again, as I mentioned, my ability and my capacity to hold safe space for others at this time, I know is a deep reflection of all the ways that I've been showing up and holding safe space for myself over the past year. And lastly, the last reflectional prompt that I want to share with you is, do you feel that you genuinely have a safe space you can turn to in your life? So I hope that this little conversation between us and these reflectional prompts bring you some conscious awareness regarding safe spaces. And I cannot end this episode without bringing up Teray Fowler Chapman. Teray is a close friend of mine that I cherish so deeply, because it is because of them that I experienced a true, real, genuine safe space years ago. Teray founded a poetry open mic. Really, it was an open mic that welcomed all kinds of writers. And Teray, wow, such a powerful human and such an incredible, beautiful example of someone who really holds safe space. It is because of them, because of Teray, because of this open mic that I attended and that I eventually became a part of, that I know what it looks like to actively, progressively, and consistently claim safe space, specifically for Black and Brown folks, for artists, for the oppressed. At this open mic, I witnessed Teray strongly express and set boundaries unapologetically for the sake of claiming a safe space. It is also at that open mic through Teray where I even heard the term safe space for the first time. So I really got my learning experience there. And truly, that open mic community is partly so incredibly special because of the safe space that it held and the way that it held it. And I also got to witness how organizers and activists have the responsibility to create safe spaces, especially in spaces where you are hosting art and artists. And again, Black and Brown folks. I am so, again, deeply grateful that I got to experience that firsthand, that I got to feel that I got to see what that looked like, that I got to see what it takes to truly claim a safe space. So thank you so much, Teray. I will forever have such a special place in my heart for you, for Words on the Ave, for the safe space that you not only created for us, but that you claimed day in and day out. Every single time we showed up, you showed up and you set boundaries and you really did that. A part of me, as someone who holds and creates spaces, sincerely just wants to make you proud and wants to create safe space in a way that reflects the way that you held safe space, because it is one of the most beautiful safe spaces I have ever, and I know I will ever experience. And I'm truly so honored to have experienced you and Words on the Ave and the safe space that you held and led a true example for. So, that, my friends, is our conversation for this episode. Shout out to the friends who ask if you have the capacity to hold space before dumping any thoughts or issues or drama or distress or emotions on you. And shout out to friends who are those safe spaces. Shout out to the communities that are those safe spaces. Shout out to the organizations that are those genuine safe spaces for us. And really, I'm serious when I say that I really feel that if we each and all had a safe space to turn to, this world would be such a better place, such a safer place, such a healthier place. We begin creating more of these safe spaces by engaging in these kinds of conversations that are discussing safe spaces and what they look like and what they feel like. We begin by expressing gratitude for the safe spaces that already exist. We begin by creating and holding safe space for ourselves first and foremost. And we begin simply by becoming aware of how we define a safe space. So thank you all so much for tuning in. Share this episode with anyone you feel may benefit from gaining this awareness of safe spaces. Share this with someone you feel grateful hold safe space for you. And I look forward to connecting with you all in our next episode. Peace and blessings to you all. Bye.